Hey everyone, welcome back to the Workplace and Apprenticeship 10 videos. In this video, we're looking at lesson 2 from chapter 7, which is talking about the sine ratio. So when we have a right triangle and we're working with an angle, we can use one of the three primary trigonometric ratios, the sine, cosine, or tangent ratio. In this video, we're going to specifically look at the sine ratio. So according to this ratio, we have the sine of some sort of angle, which we'll call theta, is equal to the length of your opposite side over the length of your hypotenuse. In order to determine what side is the opposite, we have to look at where our angle is. So this term opposite means opposite to the angle theta. So say if we look at this triangle to the left here, and suppose we had an angle theta in the bottom right corner here. So we're talking about the side that is opposite. It is opposite to the angle. So we're drawing an arrow going straight across, and the side that it's pointing to is your opposite. And then your hypotenuse, just like we saw in last video, is across from that 90-degree angle, or it's that longest side. So say if our angle was in the top here, we're going to draw an arrow going straight across, pointing to the opposite side. And then going from our little box here, pointing straight across is your hypotenuse. So depending on where your angle is, will determine where or which side is the opposite. And then your hypotenuse will always be the same. Now this third side here that we don't have labeled, that one there does have a name, but we're going to get into that in the next video. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at applying this sine ratio to a word problem, and this is example number 3 from your notes. So Brad is building a ramp. The ramp must form an angle of 22 degrees with the level ground and reach a point that is 1.5 meters above the ground. So we want to know how long will the ramp be. So one thing that I like to do is, especially when we're working with word problems, is I like to draw diagrams for this, or a picture of what's going on here. So we know that we're building a ramp here, and we know that this ramp must form a 22-degree angle with the level ground. So here we've got some sort of ramp, and we've got the ground here. So this angle formed right here needs to be 22 degrees. And then we know that this ramp is going to reach a point that is 1.5 meters above the ground. So it's going to be maybe going straight up here. Maybe this point from the bottom to the top is 1.5 meters. And because we're talking about height, that typically goes straight up and down. So that's going to create a 90-degree angle with the ground. So this here is the ramp. Then we'd have the ground down here. And then this here would be the height of that ramp, going from the bottom all the way up to the top. So here we want to know how long will the ramp be. So when we're trying to figure out which side we're looking for, we're going to be looking for this side right here, this side called ramp. So once we've drawn a diagram, we've filled in all of our information. Our next step is we want to label our triangle. And this is going to be just in general for every single one of these lessons from here on out. You're always going to want to label your triangle. So looking at our angle here, if we're going to the side across or opposite, the angle is this 1.5. So this 1.5 meters is your opposite side. And then going from this 90 degrees going across, this one here is your hypotenuse. So in this case here, we're going to be looking for your hypotenuse, which I can call that 1. We'll say that it is x. So then I'm going to start by writing my ratio. So I have sine of theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Then I'm going to fill in all the information that I know. So I have sine of, so we're going to have angle A, which is 22 degrees, is equal to your opposite, which is 1.5 meters, over your hypotenuse, which we don't know, so we'll let that be x. So then our next step to solve is I want to write sine of 22 over 1, because then we have two fractions that are equal to one another. And going back to chapter 1, we know that when we have two fractions equal to one another, we can use cross multiplication to solve. So here I'm going to have x times sine of 22 degrees is equal to 1 times 1.5, which is just 1.5. Then I want to get to my variable here all by itself, so I'm going to divide by whatever's connected with it. So I'm going to divide by the sine of 22 degrees. And what I do to one side, I do to the other, because I want to keep this equivalent. So by dividing, that cancels out the sine of 22, so I'm left with just x is equal to 1.5 over the sine of 22. Then when I put this into my calculator, I'm going to go 1.5 divided by the sine of 22 degrees. That's going to give me x is equal to, and this one here works out to exactly 4.00. And here our units are meters. So this here tells us that the length of the ramp is going to be 4 meters long. So then just to fully answer this question, remember this here was a word problem, so we need to answer this with a sentence. So we could say the length of the ramp is 4 meters. So that is everything here for this video. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to come see me in class or text me on Remind 101. And thank you guys so much for watching.